I'm recording because I've had quite a few messages from people saying, can I record it, because they're wanting to come along. And let me just see if I can figure out sharing my screen as well. So thank you for coming along, and thank you for joining Memusi Live. So we started doing Memusi Live during COVID. And it was an opportunity for us to talk a little bit more about what's going on at Memusi, give our supporters a deeper look at some of the things that we're doing, and an ability for me to sort of narrate some of the things that we're doing in the charity. We obviously post a lot on social media and try and talk through all of the things that we're doing. But what we found was that these live sessions actually brought an additional color to our work, and I wanted to give it a go again and just see what people thought of it. So probably going to last about half an hour. I'm going to talk more about what we've been up to. This year is 20 years of Memusi, and we've achieved a fair bit in that time. So I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about all of the things that we've been up to. I'm going to use a guide of the report that we sent out at the end of the year as well, but I'm going to bring a little bit color to that. I am going to start, though, by sharing a quick video that I put together in January. And many years ago, somebody said to me, what's the point? What is the point in doing what you're doing? Are you really going to make a difference? Of course, kids going through a primary education is great, but then what? Then what happens? And it shook me for a while. It made me go, do they have a point? You know, is there a difference? And obviously you believe that as a charity founder, you believe in the theory of change, but obviously theory of change takes some time. And I think anyone who's been to our schools will know that when you speak to the kids and you say, what do you want to do, what's your ambition, you get really big dreams. You get children saying, can I be a pilot? Can I just check, Steve, can you see people who are waiting in the waiting room?
No, I can't, I'm afraid. No.
All right. That's fine. I'll do it. I was just going to say, if you can, would you mind admitting people when they're joining? So I was saying that young people always say they've got big dreams. They want to be a pilot and teacher and all of those amazing things. And you then go, will it happen? You know, does that chance happen for people who live in such remote parts of the world and such struggles? I met around 20 to 25 young people who'd been to our school. They were our first children, and I met them in Nairobi in January. And I'm just going to share a quick video in the hope that you can see what happened when I met them. So I had a bit of an emotional time in January when I saw them, and I had to take a bit of a moment of walking away and sitting back and just looking in and just looking at these amazing young adults who, as you saw in the video there, are not just doing okay, they're doing incredibly well. And I think, you know, hearing their stories and again, as it says there, people working in e-commerce and people studying criminology and people just doing incredible things. I think one of the proudest moments, again, that I've had was a young man called Bob, who was one of our first students, who is training to be a teacher, and he teaches in our school now. So I just love that that's gone full circle, and we've got students who are back leading the next generation. So I love that. So hopefully that's given you a good start to this. I am going to share my screen again and just talk through some of the stuff that we've been doing and to give you a bit more insight, because we are way more than we're more than a charity who just builds schools. We do things differently, and we've learned a huge amount in the last 20 years. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this. So first of all, I'm going to talk about sustainability. Sustainability.
Matt, just briefly,
yes.
could you put it on full screen, please, mate? I can't see the bottom part of the slides.
I am struggling a wee bit.
Or zoom out a tad.
Full screen.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Don't worry about the words. I will send this on after to people as well. I was simply sharing it so people could see a bit of the imagery as well that's there. So sustainability. One of the things that I'm really keen to do as a charity is really focus on the sustainability of the work that we do, because it's brilliant building schools, it's brilliant getting kids into education, but if you don't think about the sustainability of the work that you're doing, it will come a point where things fail. And you know, our focus is to work with communities, to build those communities, and to leave them with sustainable schools. So as a charity, one of the things that we've been working on over the last couple of years, and have been really fortunate with grant funding to help us do this, is to really focus on sustainability. So we have developed, first of all, we're farming a 20-acre piece of land down near Kilimanjaro, where we're farming tomatoes, we're farming onions, we're farming chilies and other things as well. We're farming those things not for our schools, we're farming those things to be able to sell them at markets, to then be able to use the income that then helps sustain our work. So we started with a piece of land, again, it was 20 acres, but started with 2 acres, made money that enabled us to then increase to 4 acres, then reinvested, took it to 8 acres, and now 20 acres of land that we're farming there. It's been a huge amount of work that we've been doing down in Kilimanjaro, and we now are going to be hopefully seeing the fruits of that come May, where we're going to hopefully see income again that can massively contribute to helping the sustainability of our work, of our schools. The picture there in the bottom left hand side is a picture of one of the farmers. You can see cabbages there that he's walking alongside, and lots of tomatoes there as well. And that funny plant that's behind that funny fella there that's at the top is papaya. So papaya is something that we're growing in Magadi. Papaya trees, I had to get a friend of mine, he told me we should be growing papaya, and I said, yeah, but it's a tree, it's going to take like 10-15 years before we see fruits. And he went, no, it takes 9 months for a tree to grow and you get papaya. So I got a video of him going, Matthew, I promise you, you plant this and in 9 months you're going to be getting papaya. So what you see there in the background of that is 4 acres of papaya as well that we're growing down in Magadi. Again, in both of the projects, the buyers come to us, so we've not got any food waste, so we're not growing things and then struggling to sell it. The buyers come to us, and then they go and take them to the markets as well. So all of the crops are sold directly. So that's our sustainability work. Farming in Magadi. Before I ever went to Magadi, where our first school is, one of the things that I asked was, I said I want to grow vegetables, I want to grow food, and it can contribute to sustainability. I was told you can't do that, and my response to that was, you're just not willing to try. And I was told, Matthew, you cannot grow vegetables in Magadi. And then I got to Magadi and I realized that how poor the soil was, and that it's sand, and of course you can't grow food in Magadi. However, that didn't detract me, and I've spent 15 years trying to figure out how you grow food in a part of the world when nobody's ever grown food before. And I've tried lots of different things. I tried raised beds. I tried bringing soil from somewhere else, and again suffered lots of different challenges along the way. One from birds that were attacking them. You grow them to a certain point, and then the birds were attacking, and lots of different issues. And particularly the severe heat, again, was causing us problems in anything starting to grow was then getting scorched. I was a teacher of mine, Eric. We spend a lot of time chatting during the week about lots of different things on WhatsApp. And one of the things that we were talking about, I was saying, I'm reading an article at the moment about polytunnels, and I'm looking at aquaponics and hydroponics and all those sorts of things. And I'm looking into it, and I discovered something called shade houses. Now, shade houses are what you can see here, which Eric is standing inside. And a shade house is a net structure. That structure costs probably in the region of about £300, £400 for the structure and the drip irrigation that's in there. Drip irrigation, in order to water tomatoes, you need to turn on the drip irrigation for 20 minutes twice a day. So 40 minutes of water and just drip irrigation. So it minimizes the water usage in a very dry place. And the shade houses are designed in a way so the density of the net, there's different densities, and it can control the temperature of the internal temperature in there. So when you step inside, there's still heat, but it actually reduces the intensity of the heat. And we now have tomatoes, spinach, and Alice is picking here something called skuma wiki, which is again like a spinach. That again, what the benefit for us is that food then enters the diet of the children. However, there is an evolved curriculum now, competency-based curriculum. And again, one of the things that's part of the curriculum is agriculture. And what we wanted to do again is give our children the ability to not just learn from a book. Our children can come along and actually be part of the project and understand how to grow as well. So this has been something we tried with that one tent that's there that you can see Eric standing in. It's 20 meters long. We've now got 4 of those right next to each other. And the reason that we knew where to plant, I referred to the soil not being very good. I was there when it rained. And when it rained, grass started growing. So what I said was, okay, let's plot out where grass is. And wherever grass is, there's obviously enough nutrition in the ground for things to start growing. So we're going to start growing there. So wherever there was grass, and you can see the grass that's growing around here, around where the tents are, we've planted there, and we're getting amazing crops that are coming through that. We also, circular economy, one of the things that we found was that the only expense that we were incurring was obviously buying seeds, but we were also needing to buy water when we ran out of water. We were needing a water delivery to do that as well. So what we've done and implemented as part of our work with adult literacy is to develop 4 community tents as well. So the community tents are within the school grounds, but the community, we've got 4 representatives from the community who go to adult literacy class. They then look after the vegetables as well. They make a profit and an income from growing vegetables. It means that people are not having to travel to go and get food. It's grown locally. And the money that they make that goes into their pockets and goes back into this project, but also they provide us with a little bit of their income as well, which enables us to buy the water as well. So it completely means that our project, our school project, becomes sustainable, and people are getting access to locally grown food cheaper, and people have got a job as well. Just moving finally on to a project that we've started 6 months ago, that we're calling Growing School from Seeds, is a really exciting project that I've been really passionate about for some time now. I don't know any other charities that are thinking about sustainability first. What we tend to do in the charity sector is to do a project. Perhaps we go and get a grant, perhaps we get a donation and we can make a project happen. But often we make a project, and when we run out of money, those projects need to stop. One of the things that I really wanted to do is take all the learnings that we've got and put sustainability first to make the money to enable us to do the projects that we're wanting to deliver. And this is a project in isolation where we're going to look to build a school that will start from sustainability first. So we have a piece of land. So we're farming 4 acres at the moment. We're farming 1 million onions. So this guy here in the picture is called Sammy. Sammy is looking after this project for us. As you can see there, he's got drip irrigation in the 4 acres there, and we've got the onion seeds in. Come May, the money that we make from those will then sit in a pot, whilst we also then start harvesting and farming watermelons. Watermelons we're growing at a time when, so that they will be ripe and ready for harvesting when watermelons bring the highest return. So we're bringing the right crops to market at the right times. And what we will do at the end of each year is we will have enough money to then start building classrooms and operating a school as well. So rather than a school costing £750,000 to build and run, this is a project that will start with £5,000, and we shouldn't need any more money in order to do this and grow a school over time. So focusing sustainability first. And I'm really hoping that this becomes something that we can prove the model of and encourage others to follow in as well. Moving on to our schools, Memusi A. So I'm going to touch on a couple of schools. Memusi A. We now have got junior secondary school at Memusi A. Memusi A, for anyone who's never been, is our first school. It's the school that we started with, and we run through to grade 8. We've now added junior secondary school, and this year our grade 9s will take their first exams as well. So junior secondary was introduced 3 years ago by the government, completely changed the structure of education. So we've now had to build in junior secondary school as well. So our first grade 9 students will go through that as well. What it's meant is that we've then needed to also quite rapidly start looking at the infrastructure that we've got at the school. So again, what you can see in the picture below is the building of a science lab that we've put in. We've had to build the classrooms to go with it as well. We've built a music room and furnished that. And so there's lots of different things that we're needing to put in place to enable us to be able to deliver junior secondary school as well. The government are ever so kind, and they came and knocked on the door and said, you're going to be a junior secondary school, which we don't really have any choice of, and we just need to do that. But again, I guess it's a recognition that we're doing something really good there. Memusi B, our second school in Percasse. This says so we've got 600 children. As of January, we've now got 660 children at that school. We are the biggest school in the county. And again, we now have opened the doors to junior secondary school there. And we've just started grade 7. And so we've got 2 more years of infrastructure building at that school. What it has meant, again, as I've said about Memusi A, it's meant that we've got a huge burden yet again to try and put the infrastructure in place to support junior secondary school as well. So that is something that we're working through at the moment, looking for grant funding, and that's a lot of where our fundraising will be going to continue the infrastructure to support this work as well. What you can see here in this picture are dormitories. Again, this was funding that we got from our partner personal group. So the dormitories are complete, and we will be opening the doors of that imminently as well, which is great to see. Volunteering. I have left this in just to touch upon for anybody who is interested in volunteering. Volunteering continues to be a huge part of what we do and who we are. Volunteers are not just people who we bring in to say, just come and have a look at our work and come and have a trip. This is volunteers are an integral part of what we do. It's an integral part of our strategy that volunteers complement and support the work that we're doing and the work that our teachers are doing. As I said on the call yesterday, for anyone who was there, and again, I'll share the video afterwards, you know, this is for us about bringing the world to the kids, an inability for us to be able to take the kids into the world. What we're wanting to do is bring the world to the kids, and again, bring skills and talent and passion and care into our work as well. And I think that for me is what makes Memusi great, is the people who come along and join our family and want to be part of our mission for helping young people get access to education. I'm just going to touch upon now a couple more of the things that we're doing and the impact that we're seeing. Child sponsorship, what's the impact? I've shown you the video there. We do run a child sponsorship program, and it's £15 a month. And I cannot say thank you enough for the people who sponsor children. Hopefully the video that I showed at the beginning helps people realize actually the difference that's been made there. It really is changing people's lives. Henry, who I wrapped up the video with, he said to me at the end, I was sitting down with him, and he said, I know where my life would have been if it hadn't have been for school. And he said, I know I wouldn't have left the village, and I'd be looking after goats. He now is a criminologist, and I just think that for £15 a month, if we can change people's lives for that, I think it just is incredible. So thank you for everybody who does sponsor. Innovation and influencing, again, has been a really important thing for me for a number of years now. And if you've seen my social media posts, you'll hear me talking about these classrooms. I was with somebody who invested in education in Kenya, and it's frustrated me for years that people, if I say to somebody who's doing education in Africa, there's a huge amount of people who are building buildings, and that's it. My phone's been going mad for the last couple of days with a Kenyan saying, can you help us with water? Because we've had a donor who's bought us 2 water tanks, but we can't afford to fill them. Completely useless. And I just find that really frustrating. And I find it frustrating how many classrooms I see that are brilliant classrooms, but they stand there empty, or they're not being used in the right way because there's no desks and there's no teachers and there's no materials for people to learn. So one of the things that we worked on is with a couple of brilliant architects, are classrooms that cost half the price. So classrooms, if I work roughly on cost, it's slightly more now because of changes in price rises. But a permanent classroom used to cost us £10,000. These classrooms cost us £5,000. Not only do they cost us £5,000, it reduces the internal temperature in a really hot place. So we measured the temperature in a standard classroom and then this, and there was a 10-degree difference. We are also drastically reducing the carbon footprint of construction because all of the materials are local as well, and constructed locally as well. So we're not bringing materials from 4 hours away down the road on 2 trucks. You know, everything is supplied locally as well. So they're brilliant designs, and one of the things that we've done is again not just construct them ourselves, but say to other charities and other people who invest, come and look at this. And if people are interested, we give the designs away. We even give the builders who we use, who can go and do the construction. And our only ask is that people, the money that we save people that they use that money wisely, and they use that money to invest internally in running those buildings as well. So we've seen, we've had some great partnerships, and we've had a number of charities who've come to spend time with us. And I'm really hopeful that we're starting to see some real change in people's approach to how to do education as well. In that space, I'm also delighted that this year we've also been asked to help Tata, who are a big investor in education in Magadi. They've asked us to help them with the development of an education strategy for Magadi as well, which again is, I find, incredible recognition for the work that we're doing. And they've asked us to start with 4 schools to raise the education standards in those schools, not spending a penny in those schools, but simply using our knowledge and our skills and our research to guide people on where they need to spend money and how to raise education standards. So I'm hugely excited that that's work that we're doing as well, using Memusi model to give other kids a Memusi education without us having to necessarily go and do that work ourselves. Healthcare and the medical camps. A child who's too sick to come to school won't be in school. What's the point in having a school if the child is too sick to come to school? What's the point in having a school if the parents are too sick to come to school? If the parents are too sick and the child needs to stay at home to look after the parents and do the chores. So a thriving, healthy child and thriving, healthy community are drastically important in when you're looking at education as well. We've now, over the years, we've worked with some volunteers in Kenya called Ma Healthcare, and we've provided over £1 million worth of free health care, treatment, dental care to community now, and the children again, which is drastically seen absence of children drop. And you know, we've dealt with so many problems from nutrition to worms and other issues as well. So, you know, medical continues to be a massive part of what we do. Adult education. There are a huge amount of parents who've never set foot in a classroom or who left education early. Our adult education program that we run is actually run by one of our ex-students who has graduated as an adult literacy teacher, and she now teaches parents who never set foot in a classroom or who left. As you can see at the bottom of this, not only is it a great thing to be able to help people to get the basic education, to be able to then run businesses as well. One of the things that we found is that 82% of children whose parents go to adult literacy are progressing in education faster than children whose parents don't go to adult education. That's because, again, the parents are more engaged in education, but can also support their child when the child comes home with homework or is wanting to read, etc. as well. So again, not only is this a brilliant thing for the parents, it's a brilliant thing for the kids as well. Microfinance. Microfinance, again, we've been really lucky to get some funding that's enabled this program to happen. We run interviews when we take volunteers out. We run interviews for people who want to start businesses, and it is a simple model of making sure that people understand profit and loss and the basics of running a business. And then we provide grants to a group of 6 people who work together as a cooperative, support each other in running their businesses, and support each other when there are challenges as well. And that network means that people are holding each other to account. Every single one of the people who's taken a microloan has not just repaid, they've also reinvested, and they've grown their business, and are also looking at, they invest in things like water tanks and things like that to, again, improve the community. We give this money away at 0%, so we don't charge any interest on it. This is just about giving people the means to be able to do the things that they know that they want to do to enable them to, again, provide support for their child, healthcare, secondary school fees, all of the things that people need to function on a day-to-day basis. And you're talking like £30 to £50 enables somebody to do that. And again, you will, the picture here is of one of the groups that we set up. And then finally, I'm going to end here with the moving forward. This is yet again just reflecting back on everything that I've just gone through there. What we're doing is more of the same, continuing to drive all of those areas that we know contribute to the provision of quality education, through healthcare, through community, through making sure that our schools have everything that they need at the same time, but not just focusing on construction, but focusing on all of the things that form brilliant schools. And again, I'm delighted and a little bit overwhelmed that, again, we're getting the recognition from others to say, can you help us, please, as well? And people are listening to that. It's the one thing that I've always wanted to do, is influence others as well. And it's brilliant that we're getting that recognition and people are listening to that as well. So I will pause now because my throat's running dry. Hopefully you found that informative, and it's given you a bit more of a view of what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing in Kenya. We also have got a huge street child project that we run in Nairobi as well. That calls in the diary for a couple of weeks' time. I didn't want to try and do everything all in one go. So if you're interested in hearing about what we do with street children as well, that calls in a couple of weeks, a couple of weeks' time. So, any questions from anyone who's here? Well, you've got me.
No questions from Grant. I mean, it's just incredible to see the holistic support that you are building around the children and their families and the community. And I obviously knew where you started out and how you were motivated to do that, but it's such a journey, isn't it? It's hugely expanded. It's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. I think everything that we've done has been an observation, and we test it, and then if it works, we go, let's do more of that. Yeah. And again, there are other things in there as well. We saw a massive drop off when we visited other schools. We saw a massive drop off of the older that a girl gets, the less likely they're going to be in school. So you're talking 60% of a class would be girls at the start, and then by the time you get to the older years, you're talking 2 girls at most who would be in a class. And when I spoke to a head teacher, I said, "Why is that? What's going on there?" And they said, "It's because they get their period." Okay, so then what happens? And then I started to understand more about the challenges, and that a girl either would drop out of school or indeed, at best is just missing school whilst they have their period. And any provision that is provided is often the cheapest provision that there can be, and therefore it's rubbish, and girls again completely disengage with it. So we did some work with an organization called AfriPads. I did some research to find out what the best items were, what the best products were, and we found it's a social enterprise in Uganda of ladies who develop reusable sanitary products, and it costs $5, and they last for, I think it's 3 years. Now, what we then did is we then used educated Maasai girls to go and get trained on how to teach to teach girls about their periods, and to teach how to use the products, etc. as well. Because what's really important is that tribes need to speak to tribes, and there are like 40 tribes in Kenya. So me getting myself or my wife to go, or any volunteer to go and talk about this, probably won't have landed in the right way, or even getting a teacher to go and do it probably wouldn't have landed in the right way. So getting somebody who is seen as a peer is really important, and getting a peer to talk to parents as well, or mums as well, so that you're looking at complete education there. Now, what we saw, we piloted that in a school that we did nothing else in, because I thought what I don't want to do is there to be a suggestion that our other work is influencing impact. So it was just, let's go and do the education, let's go and provide the items. absence of girls dropped in 1 month from 44% to 0 in 1 month.
Wow.
Completely wiped out absence. And so it's about doing things in the right way. And again, when you try that, you go, let's do more of that, because that's huge. And I think after
Learning what works for the community that you're in, rather than thinking that the way that we do things is the answer to everything. Yeah.
Correct. And it's you know, a huge thing is about listening to people and listening to what people need and what people want. And you know, again, you know, the microfinance was born simply from a couple of people saying, can you give me £20? And I go, okay, what for? And and then, you know, it's a business idea where you go, do you know what? I'll give that a go, because if I lose that money, I don't really care. If it's can you give me £500? I'm probably going, what's the business plan? Have you thought about this? What's the competition? But if I invest £20 and it's lost, it's worth a gamble. It's worth the risk and just trusting somebody. And again, what we've seen there is it's life-changing. And I think it's, again, remarkable that, and I've always found this, it's remarkable quite how easy it is to change somebody's life when you just trust them, when you listen to them. And the vast amount of people, my experience, are that people know exactly what they need, but just don't have somebody who trusts them to be able to give them the ability to go and do that.
Yeah, that's quite similar to the way grant funding works in this country as well, though, isn't it? Because corporates that we have worked for will offer up support and money on the basis of how they want to give it versus what's needed by the recipient organisation and their clients. So it's, you know, that's not a million miles from how it works here. But just, I mean, incredible achievements. And do you want to go?
I just think it's amazing, like the impact on so many people's lives. Like the video you showed, like 20 years later, like you put them in a different position than they could have ever thought they could have been in.
Thank you.
Matt, I've got a tough question for you.
Go on then, Steve.
Fred, in full disclosure to everybody else on the call, hi, my name's Steve Webb. I'm a trustee for Memusi, so Matt knows me as a troublemaker already, so I can't block my copybook there. So I'm still trying to get my head around 20 years. That's gone so fast.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of things going on, and a lot of them are test and learn, as you just explained. You know, we'll try something. If it works, we'll try it at a bigger scale. If that works, then fantastic. If it doesn't, we'll try something else. Where do you think we'll be in 10 years? What will the Memusi Live annual update be in 10 years' time?
Memusi Live update in 10 years will be, I desperately hope and pray that schools from seeds works, because I think that's game changing. I think it's game changing to do sustainability first. And I think if we can prove that, and I think we're probably a year away from proving that, and when you can document that case study and campaign on that case study, that this is what you need to do, then that is something that I hope has. I'm going to work my bum off to try and make sure that works. And then I think it's, for me, is the influencing of other people to follow and learn from what we've spent so long working so incredibly hard on. I don't ever want to be Save the Children or a massive organization. You know, everything we do continues to be voluntary and outside of working full time. And I'm okay, not that this isn't my full-time job, and I don't get paid for it, and I'm okay with that. But I think the biggest change that we will see in getting universal quality education is people listening and people following this, and people stopping wasting money in the wrong places. And I think we're starting to see that, given that Tata have turned around and gone, we need your help, please. You know, I think is just for. I love that they've done that and said, please can you help us, because we're invested in education, and I think that is changed time, because I've probably had 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I had such disheartening conversations with people who are simply fooling people into believing that they care. You know, it's that pre-election, let's tarmac the road so people think we care. because that's important. And it's a case of putting up a building so that communities think that you care about them. And indeed, you know, that scenario that I talked through earlier on of let's buy a water tank so that we feel good, not actually that it's making any difference because the community can't use it because they can't afford the water. Is you know, stop doing that. You know, spend money in the right places. And I think if I can continue to influence people, I'm hoping that there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of more people who are getting a Memusi education simply as a result of our ability to influence more people to follow suit, and we're starting to see that now. So
it's a really powerful argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to go get my tea now, I think, and I'll stop recording. And if there's any questions, or if anyone wants to volunteer, Paula.
We do. We absolutely do.
Brilliant.
So I think we just need to have a conversation about dates, what's involved.
Brilliant.
And then we're in.
Brilliant. Do you know what? If you can join the Street Child project, the call that's coming up next. Do that. You'll have the full picture then of everything, and you can decide which one you wanted to do then, as per my message. Yeah.
If you can send the volunteering,
I will send you the volunteering.
That'd be amazing, so we can have a look at that one. Yeah, but we want to do it. It's just working out.
Well, whilst I've got you, Julie and Steve are two of my volunteering leads and have been to Kenya many times. Julie and Steve, let me give you the floor for 2 minutes. Do you want to talk about your experience of volunteering?
Come, you go.
Okay, so I met somebody about 12 years ago who told me about Memusi, and I came back and said to Steve, we've got to go. So we went the first time. I think Sally was our trip lead. Came back, said we've got to go again, and then we've got to go again, and then we just got more and more involved. So we really love going, spending a week at the school, mostly at Memusi A. Sometimes we spend a day or two at Memusi B, or we go to one of the other local schools as well and just spend a bit of time there, get stuck in with the kids, just spending time, just playing with the younger ones, talking to the older ones. Steve had a really good conversation one day. They came up and said, tell us about the Houses of Parliament and the royal family. He's like, whoa, okay. You know, and an hour later, you're still talking to them. You can get involved and do arts and crafts. You can run lessons if you want to. You can just sit in the back of the adult literacy class and watch what's going on. But I think you just come away feeling you've made a lot of friends for life with the kids and the teachers. Peter, who's the kind of charity rep out in Kenya, you just do it. That's all I would say. If you've got any doubts, don't. Just get stuck in and go at least once.
If you watch the playback of Matt's summary volunteer experience from last night, and if you want to contact us and have any further questions, then we're happy to field it. I know Matt's offered, but we're happy to cover that too. We'll give you our open and honest assessment, and we're back again in September. And I think there's a couple of places left, so if you want to come with us this year, then
we've already talked about the September date. Sadly, that doesn't work for us. My husband's going away for the whole of September, so whilst that will work for Grace and I, my 13-year-old boy would then be home alone for a couple of weeks, so sadly doesn't work. So I think we're looking at early next year if that's an option.
Yeah. Real good.
But thank you. We'll definitely watch the video, and if we've got any more questions,
amazing.
Yeah, we'll bring them through.
Amazing.
Thank you.
No problem. And I saw Leanne Field. I saw Lover reaction as well. I think Leanne Field's ready to move to Kenya, aren't you, Lee? Yeah. Nice to see you, Lee. You're on mute, mate. Okay.
Draw a picture.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your evening, and thank you again for joining. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See ya.
All right.